Welcome to Mr. Giant Reacts and Ting and Ting and Ting. I'm Mr. Giant, back with another video, back with another reaction. And this one we're going to look at here is that scientists found something in Irish blood that shouldn't be there. Ooh, ooh. Okay, this must be interesting. Let's YouTube and simmer and check this vibe out.
Right now, as you watch this, somewhere between 2 and 3 million men are walking the earth, carrying the DNA of a single Irish warlord who died more than 1,500 years ago.
Say what?
They are in Dublin and Donegal. They are in Glasgow, in Boston, in New York. Almost none of them have the faintest idea. His name was Niall of the Nine Hostages, and for most of history, he was dismissed as a legend, a story far too grand to belong to a real man. Then a team of scientists went looking for him, not in crumbling manuscripts, but in the blood of living people.
What?
They found him. And what they found forces a question that should make the hair on your arms stand up.
Ooh, this is good.
If millions carry this man's mark, then why not you? To see how strange the claim is, you first have to meet the legend. Niall is said to have ruled around the year 400, a high king crowned at Tara, the sacred hill where the greatest kings of Ireland were made, at the very moment the Roman Empire was collapsing to the south. His eerie title comes from how he ruled. To break his rivals, the stories say, he seized 9 noble hostages, holding the sons of rival lords as living guarantees of their father's obedience. It was rule by kidnapping, and it worked. From him came a dynasty called the Uí Níl, a name that means, quite literally, the descendants of Niall. That single family would go on to dominate Ireland for 600 years.
600 years.
Century after century, nearly every high king who sat at Tara carried his blood. And yet,
Talk about the
for
legacy.
a man who supposedly cast so long a shadow, Niall left almost nothing you can touch. No tomb, no bones, not one word set down by anyone who ever met him. Everything we have was written centuries after his death, braided together with poetry and myth, which is exactly why so many historians quietly filed him away as a fairy tale, a founding father invented to give a hungry dynasty a glorious origin.
You know, kind of makes you think, man. When you look at, oh man, human history is a trip, all right? Because certain things that we would think is not true, it's just myth, might be true. We just don't know how to prove it. So when you really think about it, all the old folktale characters that everybody go, oh, that's just not, can't be real. This couldn't exist. That couldn't. It might well have existed. We just don't have concrete proof of it. You know what I'm saying? Luckily, when it comes to humans, we could do the DNA thing now to see if it was real or not. So if there was like mystical characters, we wouldn't know what to look for if they have human DNA, like if they change into something else, we don't know. But you know, as far as a historical thing is concerned, this is interesting here. Let's check this vibe out.
For a very long time, that was where he stayed, a ghost, until biology dragged him back into the light.
Oh,
The key was hiding in a single quirk of the human body. The Y chromosome, the small thread of code that makes a man, is handed down almost perfectly unchanged from father to son, and from that son to his son, on and on, without a break. It is a chain, an unbroken line running straight out of the present and into the deep past. In the year 2006, a team at Trinity College Dublin read that chain in around 800 Irish men to see if any single pattern rose above the noise. One did. Over and over, in man after unrelated man, the exact same genetic signature kept appearing. And then they mapped it. That is when the room must have gone quiet, because the map matched the myth almost perfectly.
oh,
The signature was densest in the northwest of Ireland, the ancient stronghold of the Uí Níl, the very soil Nile's descendants had ruled for 600 years. There, 1 in every 5 men carried it. 1 in 5. Across the whole of
Wow.
Ireland, it was still 1 in 12.
1 in 12.
And it refused to stop at the water's edge. It surfaced across the sea in western Scotland. It surfaced again, an ocean away, in the Men of New York,
Whoa.
carried there by the famine ships and the long Irish exodus into America. All told, the researchers estimated that between 2 and 3 million men alive today carry this one pattern in their cells.
So, they tested through to America, and if they went to Canada, and if they went to Australia, because a lot of the Irish, they should test the Caribbean too. See what the vibe is there. See if that one dude, his DNA evidence is, ooh, that would be crazy. Because of mixing and stuff, it could go into other different races. There's a famous man in history. They say that they could find his DNA. Is it Attila the Hun? I think you could find his DNA all over the world in all different types of people. Even in South America, they could find his DNA in them there. I'll have to look that up to make sure if I'm not mistaken, but that is crazy.
It even tracked the old surnames the histories tie straight to Niall's line: the O'Neills, the O'Donnells, the Gallaghers. In Ireland, the family name and the male line have traveled together for 1,000 years. So the name over the door and the code in the blood were telling the very same story. The team's conclusion was as bold as it was simple. Every one of these millions descended from a single, spectacularly successful ancestor. The
700
legend had
years,
grown
boy.
a genetic shadow, and it looked
600?
exactly like Niall. But how does one man reach across 15 centuries and touch 3 million people? The answer is a cold machine that historians nickname the Genghis Khan effect.
Genghis
after the
Khan.
Mongol conqueror,
Genghis
whose
Khan,
own
not
Y
Attila.
chromosome
See?
is thought to ride in millions of men across Asia today. The logic is merciless. In a world ruled by powerful men, power converts directly into children. A king takes many partners and fathers many sons. Those sons inherit his throne and his privilege, so they too father many sons, while the bloodlines of poorer, weaker men flicker out and vanish. Run that engine for 1,400 years, and a single man's Y chromosome does not just survive. It floods a nation.
Wow.
And then, just as the story clicks shut, it cracks wide open, and the truth turns out to be older and stranger than the legend ever was.
Now, here's what's crazy. Let's say great leaders of today. Are they going to have that same effect? Because back then, a man had several wives or concubines and stuff like that. So you have several sons and stuff. So that's how that spread. So let's say leaders today, you have that monogamy type thing, where one man, one wife, even though he might, play around, they keep it secret. So you never know. So I wonder if they take like a modern day leader and they test his DNA. The change in society is probably going to stunt the spreading of his DNA to be seen all around. You know what I'm saying? But that is crazy.
That first study, for all its power, read only 17 small points along the Y chromosome. That was enough to recognize a shared signature. It was not enough to prove that signature was born in one man in 1 century. Since then, sharper tools have learned to read that same chromosome in exquisite detail and to estimate when the whole lineage actually began. The answer was not the 5th century of Nile. It reached back much, much deeper into the Bronze Age,
Wow.
perhaps 3,400 years ago, more than 1,000 years before Nile was ever supposed to have lived. Sit with that for a moment.
Yeah.
It means the true father of this bloodline was not Nile at all. It was some nameless man who walked the Irish hills when the pyramids of Egypt were already ancient, a man whose name is lost forever. Nile, if he even existed, and honesty demands admitting that has never once been proven, was only a single prolific branch on a tree already 1,500 years old. The story had done what a great story always does. It had raced far out ahead of the evidence. And yet what the evidence leaves behind is somehow bigger than the myth it demolished. Picture it. Somewhere in the Irish Bronze Age, one anonymous man passes his Y chromosome to his sons, the way every father before him had. But this thread does not fade. It is seized by a dynasty that grips power and refuses to let go for 600 years. And in every single generation, the grim arithmetic of kingship copies it again, until it is beating inside one of every 5 men in the northwest of Ireland. Then it climbs aboard a boat to Scotland. Then it crosses an entire ocean, hidden in the blood of immigrants who carried it into the tenements of New York and the hollows of the Appalachian Mountains without ever once suspecting it was there. It is still moving. It never stopped. And if you are one of the millions who carry it, and if your roots run back to the northwest of Ireland, the odds are far from small. Then you are not merely tied to a warlord out of a bedtime story. You are the living end of one of the oldest unbroken chains of fathers and sons in all of Europe. A single line of code that has run without a break from the age of bronze straight into your body. The name Nile may be half legend, but the bloodline is completely, breathtakingly real. And it may be running in you right now, a piece of a forgotten king, and of a man with no name at all, still alive in you.
Wow. I ain't lying, boy. Modern technology is a trip. They could take the DNA and relate it to like times and times and times in the past. Kind of makes me interested to know what my DNA would bring. They should do that with some Africans, man. See what the vibe is and thing. Of course, too, the people who have come to, or who were brought to, or just come here, their DNA makes me think of my situation because I came from the islands, you know what I mean? And I married somebody from Appalachia. I have Irish in me. She's got Irish in her on her dad's side, on my mom's side. And now I have a son, and he's passing it on to somebody from West Virginia. And he's got a son. They live in New York. He's going to pass it on to somebody if he gets married to somebody from New York or something like that. Now imagine if he got married to somebody from Grenada, it would come full circle. And the gene will go back to, wow. But you know, if he gets married to somebody from, let's say, Asia, because there's a lot of mixing going on more so now than before. Well, that we could see. The mixing has always been there. It just became a political tool to create vibes. It's always been, but you know, now we have a mass communication. But then the genes that come down from all the times through my time will pass to an Asian person. And it'll just keep going, and it'll just keep going. Now they say that the gene that goes through and through is a stronger gene. Now, is it biologically stronger? Is it politically stronger? Is that a word I could use? You know, why is he? Because he's the leader. That his genes are stronger. Or maybe he's stronger because he had more kids than anybody else. Because hey, he's a king back then. They do their thing, nobody questioned them. Yeah, like Genghis Khan, he just had a bunch of, children with a bunch of women, and the genes just exploded, you know what I mean? And next thing you know, it's 1 in 5 people in the whole country, and then it travels overseas and thing, and wow, that is so interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I did. This was quite, and you could take this concept to any group, any ethnic group, any nationality group, and trace some vibe. Like maybe I have the genes of some king in Africa or something, what I mean? That'd be cool to find out. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, drop a like on the video, comment down below, tell me what you think. You understand what I mean? And the genes could be somewhere in Europe too. It could be in Serbia and stuff like that. I've noticed that a lot of the great ancient kings and warriors are sort of similar and have similar struggles and stuff to those in the Balkans and stuff, the Irish great kings and stuff. There's a symbiotic nature in their history and culture. If you see that, and some of you have pointed that out, you know what I mean? Some Serbians have pointed that out to me, and some Irish people who comment on my videos have pointed that out to me. Hit me up in the comment section, keep pointing that out, because in a way we all related somehow. And that's why we should take care of each other and try to bring some peace in this world, okay?